that God has not just left the human beings to wander on their own. He sent a prophet, gave a message to the prophet.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, yeah. So in a way, it's similar. How would you say? For example, the Catholics God sent Christ. It just happened.
No, I'm talking about you.
Way.
Let's not talk about somebody else now. I'm talking about you.
Oh.
When you are convinced, do you want to become a Muslim right now?
No.
Do you know what does Islam means?
No.
Islam comes from the root Arabic word salam, which means peace and surrenderance.
I know, but I'm sorry. I don't mean that it's not right or it's wrong. What I'm saying, my belief is that I am a product. Like God created me just like every other human being. Okay? And whatever purpose He gave me, I'm not sure. It's not like He sent me a note saying, you have to do this.
Yeah, that's what he did though. That's what we mentioned. We're going back in circles.
Yeah, but it's not that clear. For me, it's not.
Do you have a better purpose? Do you have a better purpose than the purpose to worship God?
Okay, so let me ask you a question. You believe God created the heavens and the earth, everything that exists, right? But then do you believe that He left you to figure things out on your own? Does that make sense?
Well, I don't know. I am confusing that part.
Okay, so that's
because I say, okay, if God, whatever name He wears, the Creator, is like always there. Like He is watching us. He knows when we're good, when we're bad, when we do good or bad, whatever. Okay, that's great. The thing is, I do not understand how a God could allow the whole things humans do to themselves and to others.
That's because of the evil free will of the human beings.
Okay.
That's because of the evil free will of the human beings.
That's what we can choose to misbehave.
100%. 100%.
Then we have people who are good people and die miserably, in need, in pain, in agony. You have babies who, for no reason, and they're dying of leukemia.
Yeah.
Like, what's the
Yeah,
purpose
that's really
of
unfortunate.
that?
That's really unfortunate. No. So you need to understand something. You need to understand something. God actually mentions that in the Quran. See, all my answers are coming from here. All my answers are coming from here. That's the reason I said, God, after creating you, would not just leave you to wander around. You know, He created you and then He provided you with a purpose and He sent you a prophet and gave them guidance. God mentions that in the book, in one of the chapters of the Quran, in Surah Mulk, chapter 67, verse number 2, Allah says, Allazi khalaqal mauta wal hayata liyabluwakum ayyukum ahsanu amala. God says that we have created the death and life to test which of you are good in deeds. To test which of you are good in deeds. So we understand the purpose of our creation is to worship that God, and we understand that this life is a test. And God mentions that in the book.
Okay,
Exactly.
But a test.
So in the test, some people will have difficult questions. Some people will have easy questions. Based on the test that they have been given, the examiner will judge them accordingly.
Yeah.
And God mentions that in the book, in one of the chapters of the Quran, in Surah Baqarah chapter 2, verse number 155, God says that surely we will test you with loss of life, with hunger, with loss of fruit of toil.
What's the purpose of that?
The purpose is that if you are patient, then the reward will be.
When you're waiting for something, it's hard enough.
Pardon me?
When you are waiting for something, whatever that something is, it could be, time to go and eat, you're waiting because whatever.
Right.
Okay, that's one thing. But when you are in agony,
right,
like you are physically in pain, you are emotionally distraught, all that woefully that some humans go through.
Right.
First of all, when you're there, you're not thinking about being nice or not nice. You're just thinking, how can I get rid of this?
Right, right. So that's the reason God has mentioned in the book that this life is a test. And God has mentioned in the book saying that He will test you, He will test people accordingly. For some people, you see these people, he's a poor guy and I have money. I might think that, hey, you know what, poor person, you know what I mean, doesn't have anything to eat. But he doesn't have to give money in charity. But for the rich person, because he has money,
Yeah.
he has to give money in charity. But if he doesn't give money in charity, he's gonna be held accountable for that. But that poor guy, he doesn't have to give charity, so he gets 100% in the test of
Yes.
charity.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I think part of the problem is your understanding of God, because you're saying there's all these people that die in horrible ways, they go through really miserable lives. So the question that you should ask is God evil? Is he an oppressive God? Right? So if you think about it, when you look at life, you look at how we were created and everything that there is, you see wisdom. Right? The way that we were created, it's in a designed way, it's in an intelligent way. So that means that the creator is intelligent and is wise. So it wouldn't make sense for him to create life just for the sake of being oppressed, just for the sake of
Well, yes,
Right?
I agree, but those are questions I ask. The
Yeah.
same thing as they say, well, God only gives you what you can handle,
Right.
so that you can grow
And that's mentioned in the book.
out of your experience.
That's mentioned in the book.
Yeah.
La yukallifu
What
Allahu
happens
nafsan
when
illa
somebody
wusaha.
commits suicide?
Pardon me?
Oops, he forgot too much. Today was he forgot the measure.
Yeah.
Well, when somebody, for whatever, it could be emotional, mental, physical, uh, how do you say that? Yeah, like pain of any kind, to a point where it is no longer humanly tolerable for that person, and they commit suicide. For what? God forgot to measure how much that person could take.
So we know in the book, because the answer should come from the Quran.
Yeah, but you just
So
have
the
a conversation.
answer should come from the Quran.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
God mentions that in the book that He does not overburden a person from more than what he can bear. From more than what he can bear.
Why?
So when you have that understand, because
The
because He
point,
is the creator of the human beings, He
Yeah.
knows how the human beings feel.
but I believe, well, it's not a belief. It's what if I do something to you
Mhm.
that the only thing you can think about is the anguish I'm creating.
Mhm.
Okay?
Right.
So, whatever. Let's say I tie you up and I'm starting to
Beat me up.
stab you,
Right.
whatever. Let me tell you, that it won't take long, that the only thing your mind can focus
Mhm.
is the anguish that you're going through.
Okay.
So for me, I think, well, you take a person that is going through an experience that they cannot bear. It is more than they can bear. And over a period of time, what happens is they lose the desire.
They become impatient.
Well, it's not impatient.
No, that's what I was trying to say.
Like, look,
Patient for me is get in line and you wait. And you wait for whatever
No,
it
the
is.
level of tolerance and the level of patience is different from person to person.
Exactly.
Get what I'm saying? So when you understand the purpose for which God has created you, I want you to understand this thing, okay? This is very important. Because if you understand this concept,
Yes.
the purpose for which you have been created is to worship that God, right? And God mentions that He's going to test you. When you understand that He's going to test you, and He mentions that He's going to test you with loss of fruit of toil, with loss of life, with hunger, with poverty, and all of these things. So you know that you're going through that test and God is testing you. And if you are being patient, God mentions that after going through so much of test, God says that in Allah sabirin, God is with those who are patient. And if you are patient and you succeed in that test, how would you know if you succeeded in that test? Is not by committing suicide, but becoming, tired of the life.
Yeah.
Like, look, I've been listening to these podcasts about different like murderers and stuff like that. Just as I'm just giving.
Yeah, I know.
And it's very interesting because most of these people, they don't come from normal backgrounds. They come from trauma,
Right.
from
Yeah.
like very miserable type of
Exactly.
lives, and later they end up doing those kind of things. So you can understand why they would do it, but it doesn't justify their behaviors, right?
no.
So same thing. If a person commits suicide, for example, you can understand why they might have done it. You understand their situation, but it doesn't justify the act, right?
Yeah.
So if God declares something as being wrong, for example, drinking alcohol, a lot of people in this country, they get sad, especially during COVID, and then they start drinking alcohol and they get drunk and whatever. You can understand it, you can sympathize with them, but it doesn't justify it.
Well, yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So
I mean,
and you know,
I hear what you're saying,
yeah.
and I agree. But it's, I guess what I'm saying is, I agree to a large part of the things you're saying, both of you, but I still have issues in my mind of something is out of connection between God. It's like you say, did he put us in the earth and then like, okay,
Who do you
you're there now.
Yeah,
Live
yeah.
your life.
no, who do you attribute the good that you have?
Well, I think to God.
So you're talking about all the bad things,
Yeah.
but there are good things as well.
Oh,
You had your
yes,
breakfast.
Yes.
We are leaving today. It's a nice weather,
Oh, yes, I am
right?
very at this
So
point.
when you're attributing the bad,
Yeah.
then who do you attribute the good to? To yourself?
But who does the bad?
So there has to be accounts for that. There has to be accounts. We were just talking about it.
Yeah.
So Hitler incinerated 6 million Jews. He burned 6 million Jews. Did he get away with that?
No.
No. So where is the accountability? He died already. What about the 6 million Jews he killed?
Oh, well, I see what you mean. Yeah, that's terrible.
So that's the reason we say. That's the reason we say that there has to be a hereafter.
Yeah.
Hence why I said.
But again, okay. Why?
But does that answer your question though?
In
Does
a
it make
way,
sense?
I know
in
what
a
you're going to
way,
ask. Go ahead.
Why would God allow a monster like that?
No,
among
God
us?
wouldn't allow.
You know, even
He has he has the free will. He has the free will.
He has
Hitler had
the
the free
will.
will. Hitler had the free will.
regardless of why, it doesn't really make a difference. Right?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, there is a creator that created everything, and this is how life is.
Yeah.
Whether you 100% fully understand it, all the wisdom of why certain things happen, it doesn't
Yes.
matter. Because at the end of the day, this life is not an accident. Everything that exists is not an accident. There is evil in the world. Why would God do this? Blah blah. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Like, per se. You should still understand it, but it doesn't really shouldn't be the thing to stop you from worshiping God or from being grateful to Him and doing what He wants you to do, right? Because all this evil is there, and it doesn't make a difference
No, it doesn't.
for the existence
Yeah.
of God, for His
Yeah.
creation of us and everything like that.
That's the reason we say it's the evil free will of Hitler.
Yes.
And he's going to be held accountable for that. Because for you to say that Hitler will be held accountable for that, my question is when?
I don't
So
know.
you have to believe in the hereafter for that.
I don't know because you said no.
Yeah. So you believe in justice.
Oh, I do.
It's your basic inclination.
Yeah.
It's the natural inclination of the human being that he knows that there is a just being who's going to bring Hitler to life. That's the reason Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Quran that say to the unbelievers, we shall cast them into the hellfire as often as their skins are roasted. We shall provide them with the fresh skin so that they shall feel the pain. So for God to put Hitler to justice, it's easy for him. He's going to give Hitler life 6 million times and he'll die 6 million times. And that will bring back justice to the
Yeah.
people. That's the power of God.
Okay.
And that's the reason we believe in the hereafter.
Well,
So the ultimate thing, what he was trying to say and what I was trying to say is that you understand your purpose.
Yes.
When you understand your purpose, you know that there's a super being who has created you for a reason, and he has just not left you for no reason, and he has just not left you for, wander around for no reason.
Yeah.
He has created you. He has defined himself. He has chosen
Yeah.
man amongst men, whom he communicated on a higher level, whom we call them as prophets and messengers. And to these prophets and messengers, God gave them the book, the guidance, and whoever follows the guidance of God will become the obedient servant of the Creator. And everything that is created will come to an end. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentions in the Quran, Kullu nafsun za'iqatul maut. Every soul shall taste death, but the final recompense, accounts will be settled on the day of judgment. On that day,
Yeah.
God is going to judge as to what you have done. Have you
Yes.
followed the Prophet or not?
Yeah.
Have you been an obedient servant of the Creator or not? And based upon your doings, you'll be
Get somewhere.
Yes, well, yeah, it's the same.
yeah.
It's the same principle.
So the basic thing is you identify your purpose instead of going into circles. If you start from one point,
Yeah,
don't go into circles.
don't go into.
Yeah, start from one point. Understand your purpose, and then everything will come into line. Why this? Why that? Why why evil? Why so much? Why stabbing? Why suicide and everything? You understand your purpose. God says that He has created you for the purpose of worshipping Him, and He has told you that this life is a test, and based on the test, not everybody will get the same question paper.
Yeah,
Some people will have tough questions, some people will have easy questions, right? You
Yeah.
might say, I gave you the example of the poor guy.
Yes,
You might say,
yeah.
poor guy, you know what I mean? But that poor guy is getting 100% in the test of charity. You have money, if you don't spend in charity, God will be questioning you. Get you what I'm saying?
I do understand, and it does make sense.
Yeah. And you in the earlier part of your conversation and the earlier part of the conversation, we got sidetracked with that.
Yeah.
You mentioned that what about the people who are doing all good? Are they going to end up in hell when they die? So there's a concept of good deed and there's a
Yeah.
concept of neki. The people who do good deeds in this world, if they don't believe in God, they'll be rewarded in this world itself. They'll be rewarded for the good that they have done in this world itself. But the people who believe in the Creator, so they have good deeds as well as their accounts are settled in the hereafter. They're saving something for the hereafter.
So what are you saying?
Does that answer your
Yeah,
part
I
of it?
have one question.
Okay, sure. We'll go one by one. Because we are planting plants
So-
everywhere.
So, so the person or the people who are good in this earth, but for whatever reasons don't believe in the Creator.
Okay.
That would be, most people do, but let's say they don't.
Hmm.
Okay, X amount of people, but they've been kind, generous, patati, patata.
Right.
Yeah, well, they die. So where did they go when they die?
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know.
So the biggest good that anybody can do in this world is to identify God and worship Him.
Okay.
There's the rights of the Creator that you have. So you have something which is called as the right of the Creator, and you have something which is called as the right of the human beings. Getting what I'm saying?
Okay.
40 houses right to me is my neighbor.
Uh-huh.
Okay. The Prophet of Islam, he said that he is not a Muslim who sleeps with his stomach full and his neighbor sleeps empty stomach. That is a right of my neighbor that he should be taken care of by me.
The keeper
But
of
that is
your-
the right of the human beings upon the other human beings. But what about the rights of the Creator who has created you?
Anyway,
You're so much focused on the rights of the human beings, but you have
Yes.
forgotten the rights of the Creator.
Look,
He
the short
doesn't need us.
the
Pardon
short
me.
answer is if people, no matter what time of history they are, if they receive the message from their respective prophet, they followed them, they did good deeds, they believed in God alone without any partners, then they will go to heaven. Those that did not worship God alone,
Yeah.
they will go to hellfire.
No matter
This-
how
this
good
is
they
your
are.
Answer. This is
Okay.
very
No
short
matter how
answer.
good
There
they
you
are.
go. That is it.
Yeah,
So
if a
the
person-
reward for their good will be settled in this world,
Yeah.
in this earth.
Yeah, so you might work really hard in your job and get lots of money. So you're gonna get that.
Yeah.
But if you're not worshiping God alone, then you won't go to heaven. You will go to hellfire. So this is a very important point. And it's not about believing in one God. Because like you said, majority of people believe in God. But majority of people don't believe and worship one God only. Majority of people associate partners to God.
Yes.
They worship Jesus, they worship other gods.
And we
so
gave you the
there's-
definition of that.
Yes, I see what you
How
mean.
Allah is
And
different
it's
than other
true.
gods.
It's true what you're saying.
Right.
Uh,
And to
they
summarize
do-
that, what he has brought up some really good point on that. And just to summarize what he has said is that let's say you have your kids,
Mhm.
okay. You nourish them, you cherish them, you bring them up, you give them life and everything, good life. After growing up, they instead of thanking you, they go and thank your neighbor. They call your neighbor mommy.
Yeah.
They call your neighbor daddy. How would you feel?
Hey, and they all do it to a
So what I'm
certain
saying
extent.
that the Creator who has created you has got rights on you.
Yeah.
He deserves to be worshipped
Yes.
because of who he is. It's not going to make him great
No.
because of your worship. It's going to make you. That's the reason Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Quran.
This is the
He said
same-
it is you who need the Creator
Exactly.
and he is not in need of you. That's the reason he is As-Samad. What does As-Samad means? It means he is free of all wants.
Exactly. Exactly.
He is free of all wants.
Yeah, he's the source, so he doesn't need anything.
Right, excuse me.
That's okay.
Right?
Anyway, I must leave because I do have other things
No problem. You've been here for a while.
Liberace.
Yeah,
I'm saying?
Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
no problem. Have a good day.